The Hidden Hindu, Book 1 of the Trilogy, by Akshat Gupta, Chapter 11, Mrit-Sanjeevani. It took more than a year to compile the Shashruta Samhita. Every day, without fail, Shashruta dedicated and Nagendra wrote it all for hours together, starting early in the morning. Devrath assisted them with everything they needed, along with nursing me as I had undergone a lot of surgeries all throughout my body. Those were plastic surgeries, as you all call them today, so I needed a lot of care and attention. After I recovered, I helped Devrath, apart from listening to Sushruta and Nagendra. Kasraja often visited us to make sure I was recovering and to keep track of the progress of the book. As time passed, I became a part of the place. I was living a peaceful life. All my scars vanished gradually. There was something that troubled me. Each night, Sashruta went to Kasraja's hut for quite some time, and no one else was allowed to enter it then. So one day, I asked Devdrath, why does Sashruta go to Guruji's hut every night? Devdrath replied with an equal incorruptibly, I wondered the same. Moreover, I asked him once, but he refused to tell me. Nagendra was attending to us, and so he replied, he goes to take notes for Mrit-Sanjeevani. Both of us looked at him, and then Devrath asked him, if this is true, how do you know about it? Nagendra replied, I followed him many times and have seen him writing the procedures of Mrit-Sanjeevani. What is Mrit-Sanjeevani? I asked. Mrit-Sanjeevani is a miraculous procedure of bringing the dead back to life, Devrath said. But they said that no one can do that. Only the gods hold the power of giving life, I said childishly. Devrath replied, Kasraja is a god himself, and I'll be the next. Nagendra interrupted. The good news is that dreams will always be free of cost, Devrath said. Has Mrit-Sanjeevani been practiced, or is it just theoretical so far? I asked. Why do you think you are alive? We saw you dead a year ago. If Mrit-Sanjeevani had been a theory, you would have been reduced to ashes long ago. Nagendra said with a harsh tone which appeared full of hatred. I had never felt comfortable around Nagendra, but this was no time to ponder petty issues. I was jolted by the news I had just received, that I was a lab rat, an experiment, and the only successful one. In that moment, I stopped feeling like a normal human being. A sense of inferiority arose in me. How did I die? I asked. I read Devrath's face, which revealed that he was not supposed to let it slip. It also showed anger towards Nagendra for bringing this up, but being the weakest of the three sages, he didn't mouth his anger. Numerous questions had clouded my mind, and my relief lay with Devdrath. We don't know that. When we saw you first, you were dead, Devrath said, smashing my expectations. Where did you find me? We don't know where you died, but yes, we know where you were born, he replied sarcastically. Tell me, maybe I can get some answers there. I was hopeful. In Devrath Vantari's hut, there, he pointed, where Sashruta is writing the procedure of how to make a second Mrit-Ranjay, he burst out laughing. For the first time, I had many feelings growing in me. The negative ones especially. Devdrath tapped my shoulder and said, we don't have the answers to your questions, but Shashruta knows. Maybe he will tell you when the time comes. I always obeyed them. In fact, I never had an urge to disobey them until this moment. After a while, Shashruta returned to find Devdrath and Nagradra fast asleep. My questions haunted me and kept me from sleeping, so I was wide awake. I wanted to know about myself, my life, my death, and everything else. Shanshruta saw me and realized that something was not right. He came and sat beside me and stroked my hair with his fingers. "Why are you not asleep?" he asked out of concern. "Who am I?" Shanshruta comprehended within a moment as to what might have happened while he was away. He handled the situation with diplomacy, saying, "You are Kasajara's son. He gave you your life back as a gift. You are my younger brother. That is all you must know for now. Tomorrow is a big day for all of us, and you should sleep." "What is Mrit-Sanjeevani?" I pushed. As the name hit his ears, he shot an angry glance in Nagendra's direction and then replied with a sigh. "That is how we saved you. Mrit-Sanjay, you do not need nutrition or water for survival now. You may have them, but they are not necessary for you anymore. Unlike us, you will not age now or ever, which is why you have been named Mrit-Sanjay. Mrityu, death, Vijay, victory, the one who conquered death. You are not only a complete human being, but far more advanced than normal humans and enlightened versions of this mankind." I was dazed by this revelation. Sashruta understood my confusion and went on. "Okay, think of it this way. We are all bound to a time circle, time that neither reverses nor rests. It is the ship in which every being navigates. Time is the driving force of every life. Each life present on this earth has a timeline and an age. But you, my brother, have fallen out of this circle. The divinity of time can't see you. You are undetectable to its eyes. Time, in you, has been put on halt, my friend. For this moment, time sees me and deducts a second from my lifespan. Time passes through me constantly, but is constant for you. Time sees me talking to somebody, but it wonders whom I'm talking to. Therefore, I will age continuously and will die someday. But you won't. This is what Mrit-Sanjeevani is, and you are blessed to be Mrit-Sanjay. This book is a boon, if in the right hands, for those people who are able to distinguish between who should walk upon the earth forever, serving mankind, and who should be erased. Similarly, this book is a curse when in the wrong hands. It's a treacherous weapon. That's why it is being safeguarded by Sri Kasraja. I'm revealing this to you because our reason behind this hideout is resolved. The objective, which was to complete Mrit-Sanjeevani, has been achieved. Gurudev will instruct us soon to pack our belongings and move back to our respective capitals to serve mankind with the knowledge we have obtained from him. What about Mrit-Sanjeevani? Where will I go now? What will Kastra Raja do next? I flooded him with questions. Guruji hasn't informed me yet. He will tell me whatever we need to know at the right time, but I believe that Guruji will retain you with him as you are his creation, his son. I had some more doubts to be cleared, but before I could clear my head, Sashruta continued. "It's too late to talk now. We must sleep. Tomorrow is an important day. Don't worry, we will have enough time to talk tomorrow. You have waited for so many months. I'm sure you can wait for one more night. Good night, Mrit-Sanjay." Sashruta concluded the conversation, leaving me waiting for the morning. While I was asleep, I heard a disturbance in the hut. I managed to open my eyes and saw Devdrath and Nagendra leaving the hut. It was dawn. I then heard Kasraja order them to prepare a feast for everyone. After a while, Nagendra came back and took with him some leaves from beneath his cot. I fell asleep again. When I woke up, Guruji directed everyone to gather outside his hut. He came out and addressed us. "Sages, dear sons, I have bestowed upon you all the knowledge I could have. It is time for you all to go back to your cities, save and serve others of your kind. You are the few to become the first years of surgeons. You have been the best of apprentices, and so I have ordered a feast for all of you before you depart. I would want to see each one of you here again after a year to gather new knowledge for further research. Kasraja seated the 7 sages for the feast prepared by Devdrath and Negendra, whom he now ordered to serve the food. He then gestured to Sashruta and me to follow him into his hut. Sashruta, you are my most obedient and favorite son. For everyone else, the job is done, but for you, it has just begun. Kasajara said, Guruji, my place is at your feet. It would be my honor to follow your instructions. Please go on. I have not trained you to stay here and serve me. Your real purpose is out there, to save and serve people. Your name will be written in golden letters in the field of medicine. Reach out to the needy and perform your duties, but I have some more responsibilities to assign to you. Gurudev replied with an amiable smile. Tell me, Guruji. I will do it with full faith and devotion. Take Mrit-Sanjeevani and Mrit-Sanjeevani along with you. Mrit-Sanjeevani should learn the ways of the world. You are best suited to him to teach him that. Keep him with you for the whole year before returning here again and look after him like your own son. Shashruta's eyes had filled with tears. Controlling his emotions, he replied, Guruji, I want the same, but could not ask you. You have always understood everything without me saying it. I take full responsibility for him from this day forward. Also, Shashruta Mrit-Sanjeevani will not be safe here. The word will soon spread, and Mrit-Sanjeevani has been written, and evil forces will come to get it. Kasaraja said concerned. Guruji, this is a treasure to the world and is a result of your continuous research and untiring practices. How can I carry it with me? It doesn't belong to me, Shashruta said anxiously. Kasaraja calmly said, Nor does Mitraj, my son, but you are the keeper of both these invaluable godsends. They are safer in your hands than with any of the immortals. I just stood there listening to them. As you wish, Guruji. What do you want me to do with it? Sashruta gave in. Take an oath to keep this book safe until you hand it over to me. Mrit-Sanjeevani will help you, Kasaraja instructed. Sashruta promised to keep the majestic book safer than his own life. I watched as Kasaraja handed over the Mrit-Sanjeevani to Sashruta and heard him say, Now, you may leave and enjoy the feast with the rest of your brothers. Guruji, there is a request I want to make before taking your leave. Shashruta politely said, Yes? Guruji, Mrit-Sanjeevani is very anxious. He wants to know about his past. This is the one thing I can't help him with. Please help him to get over it, or he won't become the person you want me to make of him. Kasaraja smiled and glanced towards me. He directed me to sit close to him. I acted in accordance. What do you want to know? He asked humbly. Who am I? Where am I from? How did I die? And how did you find me? I was interrupted by Nagendra, who entered the hut with 3 bowls of kheer arranged in a tray. He said, Sorry, Guruji, this is my last day here, and I committed the mistake of entering without consent. I waited outside, but it was taking too long. Everyone, including Devdrath, had already feasted, so I considered bringing it here for all of you, else it might have lost its fresh taste. He handed a bowl to each of us. I wished he would leave soon, so I took my bowl readily as my answers awaited me. Just as I was about to have my first sip, Kasajara interjected, No, Marai, don't. You have not eaten anything for a long time. 370 days to be precise, dear. 9 more days are to pass before you can have food. I kept the bowl back on the tray, feeling a bit awkward. Kasaraja supped from his bowl. After taking in the first taste, he made a face and warned Sashruta not to have it. The cure contained a poisonous herb, but before he could react, Nagara launched an attack on Shashruda. Shashruda was the only threat who could have retaliated. Dhanvantari was too old to fight, and I was witnessing such an act for the first time in my life. A minute later, I saw Shashruda bleeding. He was being attacked with a knife and defending himself with his arms. Dhanvantari tried helping Shashruda and struggled to stop Nagendra, but it was in vain, leaving Shashruda helpless and exhausted. Nagendra set upon Dhanvantari. Shashruda, without wasting a moment, ran up to the Mrit-Sanjeevani books, wrapped them in a white piece of cloth, and handed them over to me. The white cloth was stained with Shashruda's blood. It was already jolted by everything happening then, and this gesture added to it. Shashruda shook me hard and to bring me back to reality, held my terror-stricken face in his hands, and whispered, Mrit-Sanjeevani, run as fast as you can and as far as you can. Get towards the south. Wait for me down the hill for a day. If I don't turn up, proceed onwards. Protect this book with your life. Don't let anyone know that you have it. Now go, my brother, go. He turned on his heels, then he plunged over Nagendra to set Dhanvantari free. This was the last thing I saw. Then I ran like a child, scared and lonely. I paused on my way, and it took me about 24 hours to reach my destination. I then waited for him a whole day, as Shashruda said. However, he didn't arrive. Instead of losing hope, I began imagining that Kasajara and Shashruda were walking down the terrain, and they were taking time to reach me. In this fantasy, I awaited another day and one more and some more days, but they never appeared. When I had left Kasajara's hut, I had seen all the other sages sleeping under the open sky. I wandered the Himalayan mountains for about a year. My state worsened with every passing day. Without anyone to care for me, I learned to drink water and eat leaves like the animals in the rivers and forests. I got sick and starved to death and had many diseases. I even ate poisonous herbs by mistake and was attacked by wild creatures that consumed me to death, but I never died. I learned the cycle of life from seeing the births and deaths of beasts. I continued wandering and one day saw a village down a hill. I was frightened of mankind after seeing Nagendra's act of violence for the book and did not want to go any closer. I returned to the woods and mountains and traced my way back to where I started from. A year had passed. As I reached the hilltop again, I saw skeletons scattered all over the place. I then realized that the sages had not been sleeping that day I ran, but they were dead. I cried like never before or even after. I sobbed for people I knew who were my friends, my family, my entire world. I felt like an orphan and ran from one set of remains to another, but I could not make out who was Devdrath and who Dhanvantari or who Shashruda. I thought they might have escaped alive somehow. My heart consoled my brain. I sat on my knees, face towards the sky, wondered where my creators were, and prayed for their well-being.